right now. You've heard this whole debate over critical race theory. A lot of the reformers will say, no, critical race theory, it's not real. It's just a academic movement that's taught in a handful of law schools. It's not affecting your kids. Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. Well, there's a report out now. A Virginia public school district sent a PowerPoint to teachers explaining how to explicitly implement critical race theory in the classroom. This is the Fairfax County Public School. Sent out the resource as a teacher-facing item. So it's not meant to be seen by the kids and not meant to be seen by the parents, and certainly not meant to be seen by you or me as we're reporting it on this show. But it's talking about critical race theory. How to include, quote, culturally relevant pedagogy, institutional systemic racism, anti-racism education, anti-hate education, blah, blah, blah. And the district rightly defines critical race theory as a, quote, interpretive framework that examines the appearance of race and racism across dominant cultural modes of expression. And in adopting this approach, critical race theory scholars attempt to understand how victims of systemic racism are affected by cultural perceptions of prejudice and all the rest of it. So Don Lemon recently on CNN was trying to peddle this silly idea that critical race theory, it's not being taught in schools. No, it's just a couple people at Harvard Law School, but that's it. It's not being taught to your kids or anything. And Ross Douthat from the New York Times, the more conservative writer at the New York Times, he smacked that down.
You're encouraging kids, white kids, to have sort of, to in effect, cultivate a kind of sense of their own whiteness, with the idea being that if you encourage that, these kids will then be able to sort of recognize their own white privilege and transcend it. But that's a lot of where the controversy is, right? It's about these programs that aren't teaching about the history of racism, aren't even teaching about sort of contemporary effects of racism. They're specifically saying, you know, white kids especially need to think of themselves in these categories and in these ways. And that's, I think, a big part of what people are reacting against.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if that, in fact, is happening. But, I mean, Ross, we should say that critical race theory is not being taught. It's not part of the curriculum for elementary or grade school students. It's something that's taught in law schools, just so we know.
But that's not exactly right. Critical race theory is an incredibly influential set of ideas that has solid influence in education, schools, and elsewhere.
No, but Ross, I'm going to just completely ignore everything you've said for the past 40 seconds and just beep boop. Critical race theory, not in schools. Beep, beep, boop. And then Ross Douthat, who's a very thoughtful person, says, "What did you not just listen to?" No, that's not right, Don. It obviously is. Ideas have consequences. And even ideas that begin in a law school will have an effect. Well, certainly an idea that begins in a law school is going to have an effect on the broader legal community and on the law and the way that we govern ourselves in our country. And it's going to have an effect on pedagogy down the line, as it has, including in elementary schools. Before you accuse me, take a look at yourself. That's the name of this entire episode. You liked the clip, you liked the episode. Yeah, we actually do talk about Eric Clapton on that show because Eric Clapton is taking a firm stand against vaccine mandates. Head on over right now to the Michael Knowles Show on YouTube. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, MySpace, Zanga, LiveJournal, and you can also get my book, Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds. See you next time.